hate, genocide and incitement,
disinformation,
toxic media outlets,
a hate mentality,
discriminatory outcomes or impact.
These companies are deciding to a significant extent who we vote for, what we buy, and who we love. Who we hate, who we kill. And that's not okay.
WhatsApp rumors can literally get people in India to come out on streets and start killing people.
They're private companies, right? They're for-profit private entities. But because of the particular business that they're in, they host a big chunk of our public political debate.
It's clear at this point that extremist content, clickbait, whatever you want to call it, makes more money for them.
Disinformation actually traveled through Twitter 6 times quicker than the truth.
The drip, drip, drip effect of hate on your platforms.
So we have political parties putting out misinformation, we have no digital literacy, and we have social media platforms doing very little about it, only doing so much for the sake of their PR.
Regardless of the lip service that any particular platform pays to human rights or we're democratizing force.
The platforms want to put ads on content that gets lots of reactions to it because there's more chance perhaps that someone will click that ad.
It's quite frustrating that many companies are not actually open about the moderation practices. The first challenge, of course, is the lack of AI competence in languages other than the big languages such as English, Mandarin, and Spanish.
The dataization of the people is happening, but the humanization of data is not happening.
Let's not forget as well that there's so many countries that shut down social media platforms because they don't want people to actually use social media platforms for good.
Governments have squashed dissenting voices by invoking the hate speech discourse.
What kind of government insults the intelligence of its people by telling them that, but the government has a right to exempt itself from everything? Yeah, right.
We can talk about how to tweak, the behavior of these platforms at the margin, but the fundamental problem is that they're just too large.
These sort of litigations are tinkering around the edges.
It's easy for people to feel powerless when you see these toxic media outlets pumping out these hateful stories over and over again. The kind of vulnerable spot for a lot of these toxic media is that they rely on advertising.
One big area, of course, is their decisions on how to target ad content to people.
More and more advertisers are saying, we don't want to be aligned with hate and genocide and incitement anywhere.
Our focus has been on actions that the platforms are taking themselves that have discriminatory outcomes or impact.
One of the strongest roads has to be around mandating transparency, especially in regards to their algorithms.
If you're really a democracy, then you need independent oversight.
We refuse to be divided. We refuse to be manipulated into spreading hate, and we're going to do whatever we can to push back.